without further ado, this week we will talk about how we first met. Hello YouTube.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hello.
This is Stefan and
Sue.
try to do it all. We're trying something outside today because we went on a wine walk, as you guys see, and it was really nice. So we decided to do this week's video here. So it's a very nice quiet area at night. Since we talked last, a lot of stuff had been happening with us, and there's a lot of news that we were talking about other times. But one of the biggest things, maybe the biggest thing, is that we had a wedding anniversary. And how many years has it been?
10 years.
We've been together for 10 years.
No,
This
we've been together for 13 years.
Yes, we've been married for 10 years, this many years. I had to count it like the kids, this many years. So 10 years seems like a long time. Our son is 10 years old now. Of course, we have other kids and you guys seen, but I can't believe it's been 10 years. So 10 years and then 13 years, I figured that this is a good opportunity for us to talk about how we first met, and a lot of you had always asked questions, and we always get this question all the time. And how did you first meet? So let me ask you, and I'll tell my side of the story too, but
No, you have to tell your story first, because we've heard my version of the story many times, because you always want me to tell the story. So let's hear your version of the story first.
okay, so I'm just gonna mimic what she says. We met online, but it's not online dating like what people most meet. You know what's funny? This is a little bit of segue. Online dating back in the day when we first met, it seems almost like not a dirty word, but it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing that was popular. It almost seems like, I feel like there's a little, at least for men anyway, of a negative connotations that if you had to go online to meet someone, you're kind of not in a good spot.
And it was actually still a time when phone dating was still a thing. Like, people were still, because I did some phone dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the apps were around, but people weren't using it as much, and not like today, right? Everybody's meeting online today because of social distancing.
I don't think there were apps. I think there were websites, not apps.
Websites. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What was it? Plenty of fish, and eHarmony, that kind of stuff. Or anyway, but we did not meet on one of those services.
No.
We met on MySpace. Remember MySpace?
Vaguely.
What was MySpace? MySpace is still around. My account is still there. There's nothing on there. But so before Facebook, there was MySpace. MySpace was the thing back then. For those of you that remember, I don't have to explain too much, but for those of you who don't remember, MySpace was the ultimate personal homepage that you can basically personalize everything and make it look nice. I think most of the girls has diamonds falling on a pink background or something of that sort. So that was MySpace.
It was MySpace and Black Planet.
Yes, my Black Planet page is still up.
I'm assuming mine still is. I don't know.
I will give a challenge. Anybody can go and find my Black Planet page. I'll give a shout out and I'll do something special. It's still up. I'm surprised. But anyway, so all right, so I'm telling you the story. So 13 years ago, I was almost 30, not quite yet, and it's almost 14 years, by the way, now. I was bored in my shop in this little town called Upper Darby. It's a big part of our life, again, for another day. But I had a shop, a motorcycle shop, and a store in Upper Darby, and I was getting bored one day, and I decided that I want to go out. I want to go out somewhere, but I didn't want to go into Philadelphia, where the city was, and it was a weekday, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like you can go to a bar, go to a club, and just meet people. But I thought I want to find someone interesting to go out. This is kind of before Facebook was really popular, before LinkedIn. So I decided to go on MySpace. I looked on Black Planet first, by the way, and I couldn't find anyone. So I went on MySpace. MySpace just started this feature where you can search for members near you. So
so you were actually fishing.
Yes.
You were fishing for someone.
I told you I scheduled 2 days, but at 2 dates the same time as you, but I got stood up by the other one.
Can you believe he had somebody else lined up who wasn't me?
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure you did too.
Well, you got lucky. You got real lucky.
All right, so I put in the zip code. I did a 1 mile radius search, and just so happens that her house was actually within 1 mile radius. So only a few profiles popped up, and I clicked through. They're not everybody's interesting. So I found a couple of profiles. Then I sent out a bunch of messages, maybe like 5 to 10. And I got 2 responses. Like I said, I got 2 days out of it. Well, 1 day out of it. 2 scheduled days.
This is the first time I'm really hearing all of the details to this story.
You heard it back then.
No, I did not hear all of these details. I think you told me about the 2 dates, but I didn't hear all this other extra stuff.
Well, do you really care about what I do on the computer now in
I do.
detail?
Yep.
So you go in, put in the zip code, you put in 1 mile, you choose black, and from...
No, not that, but I don't care about that piece of it.
Fine.
I care about the piece where you were sifting through and there wasn't you didn't find a lot, and then there was you had to pick from what was there.
Yeah,
and
scroll click. Some people have no photos. Some people had really lousy photos, as you will tell that part of the story. And some people had bad descriptions. Some people had too many diamonds falling down on the screen that their page is really slow. Anyway, so got to send out a few messages, and I got 2 replies. And then yours happened to be one of the first replies. Well, I think yours was the first. Go on. Your turn.
Okay. Well, I was not looking for anyone. Actually, at that point in my life, I had made a decision and said that I'm not going to date anymore. I'm not going to be looking for anyone because I was a single mother, and my daughter was, what was she, 5? She was 5 or 4?
4, I think.
I think she was around 4 at that time. And I had just gotten out of a relationship, and I was just like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to be searching. I'm fine with just being with me by myself and taking care of my daughter. And I remember I prayed to God, and I wrote down on a piece of paper all of the things that I wanted in the person who was supposed to be like my soulmate and the person that I was supposed to marry. So I wrote those things down, and I put them under my pillow, and I slept with them under my pillow, and I just gave it to God, and I was just like, okay, I don't need to search anymore. So I wasn't searching. And one of my coworkers, she kept asking me to create a MySpace page, and I was like, no, I don't need a MySpace page. What do I need that for? But she was like, yeah, you should. You can reconnect with your friends from high school and blah blah. I was like, okay, so are you gonna help me do it? So she said yes. So she helped me do it while we were at work, and I set up my page, and probably it was a few days after I had set up my page when your message came in.
Good timing. That was the only time I looked on MySpace.
And it was a part of that timing that made me kind of feel like, okay, maybe this is God. I don't know. But the timing was just right. So he sent me a message, and I looked at it. I looked at the message, and it said something like, oh, you're so beautiful. You put models to shame and blah, blah, blah. And that was back in the day when I was like some pounds lighter, and
They still look the same.
really?
Hmm?
Well,
I got some photos. I think you still have the photos that you had on MySpace.
I had them somewhere. I don't know where they are now. And I was kind of like trying to be a model and stuff like that. So I had some like glam photos up.
She was wearing a short skirt in snow. So seeing this beautiful color in white snow. And she had another color. I think you had like brown hair, like all this hair, but it was kind of brownish.
Yeah.
And I said, you look like a lion, I think, or a lioness.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So yes, he sent me that message, and I went and I looked on his page, and there were a couple of photos, and some of the photos he looked like a cool young Asian guy, and then some of the other photos he looked like an old Asian guy, and I was like, I don't know which one I'm gonna get. I don't know what he really looks like. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know. So then I sent the message back, and I was like, well, so what do you know about dating black women? Because I was not in the mood to be messing around with somebody who was trying to experiment, or, you know, someone who just was looking for some dates and stuff like that.
And for the rest of our life, it's always every proposal, every question, every suggestion I've ever made is met with super skepticism. I'd be like, you're craving sweets, and I come home with a cake. You'd be like, why do you think I want to eat all that calories? Yeah.
Well, you knew what you were getting into, though.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good.
Among many other things.
So I sent him back the message, and then he replied, and he was like, oh, I love black women. All I date is black women, and blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, maybe I can work with that. So then we just messaged back and forth, and then we exchanged phone numbers, and we talked on the phone. And I remember talking to him on the phone and thinking, I was like, wow, if in person he looks like his good pictures and not like his bad pictures, then he could actually be the one.
You skipped over a little bit of detail. I say I think 2 or 3 messages, or 1 day of messaging, not even quite 1 day, because back and forth, you said, okay, call me on the phone. And I was caught off guard because, again, this shows our age. Like 20 years ago when you date, it's really difficult to get girls' phone numbers. They don't give it to you. They'll give you a number that's to somewhere else. You call like, hey, can I talk to so-and-so? They'll be like, nah, the wrong number. I'm like,
I did that a lot.
Yeah. So I was like, well, no one give out that number that fast online. Shall I even call? And I thought about it and I called. But I think you gave me your work number.
Maybe.
I think when I called you at work, then we talked for a little bit. Then you said we can talk later.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have time to be messing around. I was straight to the point. And that was kind of how we started. It was just like, I wanted to know what you were looking for, and you wanted to know what I was looking. We weren't trying to waste each other's time.
And that was, we weren't really looking for anything specific. You weren't looking for anything, and me neither. Like, I started doing a search because I just want to meet more people. And I was just getting out of a relationship, and I had been married one time before. So I think I told you in the beginning, like, I wasn't looking for anything specific. I want to meet people that are fun and we can do things together. But I'm pretty sure I told you that I didn't want to get married again.
I think you did.
And then you told me that either then or later that your mom says no shacking up. And that's still in my head. Yeah. Because you would turn around and say no shacking up.
Yeah. But we ended up shacking up anyway.
Yeah. That's because you're tired of staying in your mom's house.
Luckily, that turned out good for both of us.
So that's how we met. And, so what do you think if we if everything happens today, like, would it still happen the same way?
I think so, because we still have the same type of personalities, and we don't we
do not have the same type of personality.
No, as we did kind of back then. We don't. Okay. Not that you and I have.
We do not have the same personality.
Me as my past person, still personality, traits are still very similar. But we still value time very much. And so I think we would still be the type of people who don't want to waste anyone's time. And we still like to be very forthcoming and honest. And so, we don't like to beat around the bush a lot.
Yep.
So I think it would kind of still work out the same, because even with all of the online dating and everything like that, I can imagine that I would have been like, all right, well, let's FaceTime so I can see what you're like on camera.
Well, I guess it's lucky that we live close enough, because I think if I lived far, maybe you wouldn't have.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would have, because I didn't have time. I didn't have time to be like traveling from here to. I was a single parent. I was working. I was going to school. It really worked out that you did live close.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't live close, I wouldn't have been able to find you. Mm-hmm. If you put your work address in. So she worked in a town maybe like 5 miles away. Mm-hmm. I was not looking 5 miles away. Oh.
I actually put my home address in?
No, I think it was just a zip code.
Oh.
I probably put my address in because it was my shop anyway.
Oh.
So we're going to do another episode on the first date, because that's worth talking about in detail. But before we end this episode, we're going to have a question for you. So today, as we go on YouTube and we see other channels, there's quite a bit of Asian and black couples. Mm-hmm. And in large part, well, not in a part, thanks to Insecure and Isa and bringing that into the popular culture, that Asian men are actually desirable to date. But it was not always the case, right? We're going to talk about a bit more in future episodes about my experience on trying to date black women in the late 90s and early 2000s. Was quite different. But we met in 2006, and that was 13, 14 years ago. How is it different then than it is now, do you think? It seems like it's a lot more widely acceptable. We see a lot more mixed kids, but it was kind of rare back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess it was. I don't know. I guess from my point of view, it didn't feel really weird. Maybe because I'm a mixed child myself, and my mother is Afro-Caribbean, she's black, and my dad is Indo-Caribbean, he's Indian. So I grew up seeing different types of people, races and cultures mixing together. So to me, it wasn't something so like different.
And where the town Upper Darby was very diverse as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think you said the schools that I didn't go to. I didn't grow up in Upper Darby. I just happened to be there at the time. But to me, the difference was a little bit different. I went down to the South quite a bit during that time period. Another story for another time. But went to South Carolina quite a bit, and it was so different. There's a lot of racial division and there's a lot of segregation going on. It still is today, but it was really bad. So. Asians seems to only date Asians back then, so it was tough for me. I have a lot of story to tell on that, but I'm glad to hear that there's the integration or multiracial dating was more accepted in this pocket of where you grew up. So did you have friends who were mixed? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I have had friends who were just different races.
All right.
Indian, Asian, or Vietnamese. All different things. Because Upper Darby, it was always a melting pot.
Yeah, I think when I ran for office in the Upper Darby area a few years ago, and I remember saying that Upper Darby was the most diverse township, I believe, in Pennsylvania. So. And then we were back, our new building, a new business in Upper Darby, so I'm glad to be back. Oh, well, that was nice sharing that with you guys, and it was really nice. And this night actually reminded me a little bit of our first date, because it was not really warm, because I had to...
It was cold.
It was cold, right? Well, it's not cold now, but it was a little windy, and it was out, and we were out quite a bit. It was in October, so...
It was cold. I was cold. And I wore a skirt, and I was cold.
But, see, we don't have the same personality. But all I'm saying is that we were out, and it was outside, and it was at nighttime, but it was us, so... I remember these things. I don't know if you do.
I remember, our date wasn't outside. We just walked outside from the car into the building.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, it was great sharing this story with you guys, and we will talk to you soon.
Yes.
And make sure you
like, subscribe, and share, and leave comments below. Ask questions. We love answering the questions that you have. We love interacting with you guys. If you have any suggestions on videos that you'd like to see us do, let us know.
Yeah, I'm very straightforward. I'm also very opinionated, much more than this one. So if you want to hear anything about anything, just ask me. And also, challenge, Black Planet page. Go find it.
Bye.
Bye.